Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jonathan Cohn, and today I have my book review of the book The Sunlit Man by Brandon Sanderson. This is the fourth secret project from Brandon Sanderson. I was going to say, when I was originally preparing my review, I was going to say the fourth and final secret project, but the day that this book came out in hardcover from Tor, Brandon announced a new secret project, a fifth one. So this is not the final secret project, but it's the final of the original set of four that was done. For those of you who may not remember, just to catch you up, you had the first one, Tress of the Emerald Sea. I loved this. Fantastic novel. Just really top tier. Brandon Sanderson for me. I loved it. Then we had The Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England, which I actually really enjoyed. I thought it was a lot of fun. It's not his best. It's one of his weaker novels, but it's an entertaining book. It's got some real entertainment value there. Some great creativity behind it. And then, the very different for Brandon, and yet also at the same time entirely on point, his Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. His very much Asian-inspired storytelling here. Very well done. Not quite as good as Yumi, but still very excellent. So, he had a pretty good track record, I thought, with the secret projects. And going into Sunlit Man, I even saw a few people say this was their favorite. And then I saw a few people saying it was their least favorite. And then I saw some people saying it was in the middle, so it's all over the place for some people. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it right now. This is my least favorite of the secret projects. This is also my least favorite Brandon Sanderson book. I know that's shocking to say. I didn't really enjoy this book. There were elements I appreciated, and even a few sequences and scenes that I actually enjoyed, which is why I'm not giving it a negative rating. But as an experience reading the book, I didn't get much out of this. This is very much, if I had to describe it as a quintessential Brandon Sanderson book, that is absolutely how I would describe this. What the biggest problem with the book is it lacks the extra punch that the other books had. Tress of the Emerald Sea had that fairy tale, classic fantasy vibe mixed with some modern trends. And then you had The Frugal Wizard's Handbook, which was just great absurdism sci-fi that really got his time travel disaster tourism element right. And then you had Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, which just really felt like a great romance coupled with a great exploration of Asian culture, and it just felt so unique in the Cosmere. And then you have The Sunlit Man, which just feels like another standard Cosmere entry. And there's so much focus on magic system here, and so little focus on a lot of the character development, and so little focus on general plot. The general plot I thought was just okay. It wasn't great, and that's really sad to say because Brandon's usually writing great plots in the storm or in the Cosmere. This book, it has the character of Nomad, who is a recognizable character if you've read the Cosmere, specifically the Stormlight Archive, and he is an apprentice of Hoyd, or Wit, and he is basically skipping through a bunch of different planets because he's trying to avoid the Night Brigade, and he lands on this planet where the sun is pretty much devastating to life. The sun just destroys anything in its path. And so the people have these floating cities that they have to transport using these special gemstones that, gem hearts, I believe they're called. And they have to keep the cities traveling to avoid the sun, and they have to find the best places on the planet. And there's this evil king who is basically trying to steal lives and steal gem hearts, and also trying to manipulate things for his good. And so our main character, Nomad, is working with the kind of a rebellion to stop that bad king. And it's just nothing stood out about this as good. It just felt like blah. There's so much emphasis on world building. If you're a world building / magic system person, you'll love this book. Magic system is just something that never catches on with me. I really don't care. I would be fine with a fantasy book that had absolutely no magic system or magic in it, as long as it just told a fantasy sci-fi style story, which is probably why I gravitate towards certain books and series. But then again, Brandon is my favorite author, and usually his character work, his themes, his plot is just so over the top amazing that I'll power through his world building to get to that great stuff. But when the character development wasn't there, and the plot just wasn't enough. It was just okay. And then when the themes weren't even that amazing, it just felt like a book type to review. And this is the first review for a story, for a Cosmere book, and my first Brandon book that's not really positive. My previous low point for Brandon Sanderson was Frugal Wizard's Handbook, and I still quite enjoyed that too. So it's just kind of frustrating that this book just didn't work for me. I think that part of the reason is that Nomad felt so disconnected. And for the first portion of the book, he's not talking with anyone. He has auxiliary, who's his I don't want to give too much away, but he has auxiliary who he's communicating with. But when it's just the two of them, it gets really tedious and boring. When he's talking with auxiliary throughout the rest of the book, it's actually kind of interesting when there's other people around in the conversation and he just kind of stops and talks to auxiliary for a second. But in here, when it's just him and auxiliary, it just got really boring for me. And that happens for a lot of the opening. And it took a while for him to establish everything. It's a lot of the book is just the main character being like, oh my goodness, action sequence. Oh my goodness, another action sequence. And it was just like, really? Is that all you're doing here? And there was a sequence where, it's a secret project set in the Cosmere. So Hoyd is going to be involved, and Hoyd's involvement was quite interesting, as were the Cosmere connections and references. I think that this is the most connected book to the Cosmere, and it feels the most of a Cosmere book of any of the ones you've read. And so if you enjoy all the Cosmere connections, you'll probably enjoy this. That is one of the less important elements to it, to the Cosmere for me. It might work better for you. And so this is one example of, I'm not going to tell people don't read the book. I think you should read all of Brandon's books. But I'll say that I think that for other people, this will work better. I have a private group chat with some friends, and they probably, one of them will watch this video and he'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But in our group chat, they're also Cosmere fans, and one of them said, oh, well, if you don't like it, then I'm going to love it, because we often disagree on Sanderson books. And so I'm sure a lot of people will enjoy The Sunlit Man because of all the things that I said I didn't enjoy it for. But that's my thoughts on the book, my review of the book. It just didn't work. There were a few characters that were okay. I thought Rebecca was okay. Or is it Rebecca? I think it was Rebecca. And then there was also the character of Elegy. Elegy had some moments. And even Nomad had some moments. But it just didn't work. So I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. Lowest I've ever rated a Brandon book. But that's my thoughts on Sunlit Man. If you've read the book, let me know your thoughts on it. I think most people have, because the Kickstarter version's been out forever. But I had to wait for the hardcover edition because I buy the standard hardcovers for these secret projects. So, until next time, I'm Jonathan, and thank you for watching.